Just because someone has money or they don't have money doesn't mean they're not going to have challenges and issues. It's just that they're different, but deep down, they're kind of the same. Sometimes the challenges.
Welcome to Positive Vibes. I'm Nicki Dennis. This is a space where we celebrate the sacred in the everyday. And today's guest brings that magic in the most grounded and soul-nourishing way. Tammeron Karam is a women's wellness astrologer, a guide for emotional empowerment, and a former private investigator with a wild and wonderful story. But beyond their titles, she's a mum, a dog lover, a nature seeker, and a woman who's built a heart-centered path to help others reclaim their spark, especially during seasons when life feels heavy. Tammeron helps women over 50 tune into their personal birth charts to create holistic wellness routines, even if they have never touched astrology in their life. Her approach blends ancient wisdom, intuitive science, and modern emotional support to help women feel vibrant, confident, and deeply connected to who they really are. With masterclasses like 3 astrological secrets to reclaim your spark and a lifestyle grounded in the values of Age of Aquarius, compassion, collaboration, and connection, Tammeron is here to show us that it is never too old to realign with your joy. Tammeron, I'm so excited to have you here. Let's dive into the magic.
Thank you, Nicki. Thank you for that amazing introduction. And it really is a gift to be here with you today. So thank you. Thank you back.
And it is our gift too to have you here. So thank you. So, Tammeron, you've gone from private investigator to a wellness astrologer, two very different worlds. Can you take us back where that moment you knew your path was shifting?
Oh, yeah, that's a really good question. And, they do seem very extreme. You're exactly right, Nicki, but they actually are the same because even when I had the shift when I was younger, it was more about moving from being in the workforce and finally getting married and having kids. And I was like, I can't go back to this as a job because I can't just drop my kids off and say, I don't know when I'll be home. Because when you're a PI, you don't know where you're going to wind up, how long it's going to take. And there's endless paperwork and hours involved in that type of a job. But I'm going to be honest, being a private investigator taught me how to look at a situation. And we were trained to look at something from the outside, from a higher perspective. When you look at what someone's doing, you're watching someone. And when you write the story in your report, it gets more narrowed and more refined and very specific. Now, later in life, after I left my partner and I was in the wellness industry and studying a lot of different modalities, astrology was one of the later things that I studied. But when I became an astrologer, I literally felt like I was a PI again. Like when I'm looking at a picture of someone's birth chart, it's literally a snapshot of what the astrological sky looked like the minute they took their first breath here on Earth. And it's a picture and it's full of signs and symbols. But as an astrologer, the way I have been taught and then added my own intuitive way of deciphering the information into like a framework that makes it easy for my clients to understand is because as a detective, I have to uncover what those signs and symbols means. And it creates a story for their life. And it starts with the big picture. And then I narrow, and then I bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. And then as we get to a higher age, especially women over 50, we're thinking about our life from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And so that is a powerful message and a wellness plan that I want to guide these women into because it's not about how much money you make. It's not about your titles. It's about that fulfillment and joy. It's the road less traveled.
Yeah, that's so interesting to hear that your path has actually given you the tools to actually do what you're most passionate and good at the end of your career. So it's interesting. I always say that we're on the right path. Sometimes we don't understand it, but it's actually giving us the tools along the way to do what we need to do in our true purpose. So that's really good, really, really nice to hear. I'm sure our listeners will take that away. So in regards to your astrology, how do you use or how do you use your astrology not just as a belief system but as a wellness tool?
That is a great question. So you're right. Astrology can be a way of connecting it into like a belief system because it is about a higher teaching or almost
Mm,
a sense of guru. Like different cultures, everybody has some form of a guru. And so astrology can be that for someone. But the way I've studied it with my background is because I studied a lot of holistic modalities first, like for the past 18 to 20 years, actually, when I became an astrologer, I was still looking at someone's chart. And when I read someone's chart and I'm looking, I don't know anything about these people. Like, I don't know
mm,
anything about them. All I have is their information. But
yeah.
the way I interpret it, I kind of get a feel for what their big lessons are, what challenges they're having, how often they're going to happen. I can predict using the tools that I use what it is that they might be feeling like in a negative experience because everybody
Hmm.
will experience a challenge in a different
Yes.
way. Like there's like a common pattern for certain lessons. And so my brain always goes to, oh, I got to recommend this for them. Or like, there could be things that are connected to parts of the chart is like, boy, when they're really in a challenging time, I'm going to make sure that they always rely on this tool to get them
Mm,
back on track and to bounce up better and to feel better. So it's the way my brain processed it. And I was already creating those templates. And ironically, Nikki, in my own chart, that represents how my brain works. So
mm,
when I see a challenge, I always have to go to the realm of health and wellness because that's an indication of my chart. Like this is what she's going to tell you. So it's not about it's about being different as an astrologer because astrologers can do literally anything.
mm,
Like astrology has been used like since way back in time. So you can go to astrologer if you want to find out when you're going to meet somebody, when am I going to be successful, when am I going to get married, like that kind of stuff. But for me, it's about wellness and
yeah.
template and what you can
Yeah.
do so that you can always pick yourself back up.
Yeah. I like the way your framework, as in that comes up in your chart, and when that comes up in your life, that you've got a go-to toolbox to actually know how to deal with that situation. That's quite unique, and I haven't seen that in astrology before because it tells you all about your life and what's going to happen. But to have that toolbox that when you're feeling like that, this is how you need to respond because sometimes if we don't respond in the right way, we're not showing up in our best light. So would I would predict that you are actually encouraging this toolbox for your clients to show up in their best light in every situation in their life.
Absolutely. You're bang on, Nikki.
Mm.
And it is very validating when I can look at a client and say, does this pattern keep showing up in your life? And they would say, how do you know that about me? You don't know anything about me. And I go, it's not about it, that's what your soul is here to learn
Yeah.
until this has to do with what we call Saturn in astrology. So Saturn is the where we get our hard knocks in life, where every
Mm,
so many years, we need to be responsible. And sometimes the universe or God, whatever you want to call it, is going to throw a curveball,
mm,
right? And like you said, are you going to react or are you going to respond?
mm,
Now, if you knew that was your pattern of what was coming over time, we do tend to get a little bit wiser. It's like, I've been down this road before. I don't want to go there because I need to learn how to manage myself, right? So that
yeah.
you can sit with yourself, trust your intuition, Because a lot of times what I've noticed is that when people are just reacting very quickly, it's just that knee-jerk response. Whereas you can sit back and, like you say, you can decide how you're going to respond to it. A lot of times what happens is women are learning how to trust their intuition
Mm-hmm.
because it's not always logical what you need
Yeah.
to do. Sometimes that intuition is against everything. But for some reason, you're just like, I have to go there, or I have to study this, or I have to, whatever. And that's why the universe keeps going, hello,
Mm.
you're not paying attention. And so it's going to keep happening.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense, and it's very resonating because it may be where you said it's your intuition is telling you it may be, this is the right path, but it also may be against everyone in the room.
Oh,
So, and that's where you feel that you don't go with your intuition because everyone in the room doesn't agree with you. But in the end, you go through those circles, and at the end, you go, "I wished I listened to my intuition." Yeah, that
yeah,
that
absolutely.
gut instinct. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've worked with a lot of high-profile clients and everyday women alike. What do you think makes your work feel so safe, especially for those that are hiding that real emotional pain?
Yeah, that is another really good question. And the truth is, I just want to remind everybody that the clients and the women that I work with, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. It's the Stephen Covey quote, like, I treat everybody's chart and helping them the same way I would no matter what you do, who you are, where you work, because just because someone has money or they don't have money doesn't mean they're not going to have challenges and issues. It's just
Mm,
that they're different, but deep down, they're kind of the same. Like sometimes the challenges we have when we have no money, those challenges are the same challenges. It's just that the challenge might be bigger if there's more money involved. Like it's fascinating how it's like, wait a minute, this is the same issue,
mm,
right? So to me, it's about helping people and helping them to understand that their soul's journey is a roadmap, and I can
mhm.
read the directions on it and help guide them so that they understand their life. Because I've had ups and downs with having lots of money and having very little money, but something on the inside, I'm still the same person.
We're all human. At the end of the day, it
Exactly.
doesn't matter what's behind us. We're all human. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah, a good reminder to our listeners out there. So in regards to your title, a women's wellness astrologer, what does that actually mean? And how does astrology tie into the physical vitality and emotional resilience?
Oh, yeah. Well, for me, the title Women's Wellness Astrologer was something that just kind of morphed because I would call myself a certified astrologer and a certified
Mm,
health coach. And to some it was just like the magic of the words came together. And the reason why I focus on the vitality and the emotional, like for helping women raise their vitality, find that physical strength again,
mm,
and to gain the emotional resilience is because when life feels tough, this is what we tend to lose first. And this is even in my own personal life. When I go through challenges, the first thing that I always stop doing is the exercise, is the fire. You're emotional, you're upset. So and that's a water element. So emotions are represented by the moon. These are water elements. And so when we're in a down, you know, tough time, life is challenging, we are in water. And it's very hard to light a fire underwater. So that is the key area that I focus on with women right away is when your life feels like you're falling apart. If you just feel like you can't see the forest through the trees, the first thing I want to do is look at your chart and find out what is the exact solutions and remedies that I can give you that literally within days, you're going to like bounce back off the couch. You're going to wake up going, okay, I've got this. I can take the next step because it is going to be a challenge. And also to really get the vitality going in the physical body, because you got to get up.
Yeah.
You need fire to make change, right? And that's where transformation occurs. We have to take action. So working with women initially like that's always where I go first. It's like, I'm going to make the recommendations for you so that you literally start feeling better on an emotional level, but then we're going to get you moving. And it happens for me too. So I understand that process.
No, that's a really good insight to how you use that in the everyday life and understanding the elements too, which I'll touch on a little bit later as well. So, in your masterclasses, you talk about reclaiming your spark. Now, you help women in their midlife. What do you think their real struggle is, and what do you think they're really craving?
I think the real struggle is that mainstream, when you're having a problem, most people, when they go to their doctor, when they're not feeling good or feeling down, you're going to be medicated. That's the first problem that we need to solve, because I honestly believe, and in my own story, um, it wasn't a solution to help me get out of the water, like of the heavy feelings,
Mm,
because when going through a tough time or challenging time, it's extremely emotional. Like it can be extremely shocking or sudden, or like, something just happens in your life where you weren't expecting it. And you're sitting there like, what just happened?
mm,
And so with that, working through that part of it, and then getting getting them to understand that you move through that emotional energy, and then you start feeling better, and then it's like the physical aspect will come next. Does that make
yeah.
sense? I think I'm repeating myself a little
Yeah.
bit, but
No, that's yeah, it makes sense. So when we look at our elements, we've got fire, earth, air, and water.
air
So you've
and
touched
water.
on water and earth. And earth is, water, where you're saying when you feel down, your
Fire.
emotions, you feel sort of dampened if that is sort of an alignment to the water. And then you need the fire in you to burn to get you up and get going. With earth and air, how do these also show up in our emotional health? And also with these, what does it look like when we activate one for healing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've got fire, and then we've got water, like you said. So earth represents the earth elemental things in our life, which is our food, our
Mm,
plants, plant medicine, changing our diet, looking at, how much processed foods are we eating, how much takeout are we buying. Like, you got to get back into the whole foods and starting to release toxins, because the truth is we're living in this toxic soupy world. Like, it's kind of
yeah.
scary. The truth is coming out about a lot of stuff. So, and a lot of people are not educated about that, because we don't learn this from our doctors, and we don't learn it in school. So you have to take this on. You have to be responsible for yourself. And air is about the logical mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is how our mind works, which is different. There's 12 different placements in astrology, and it's represented mainly by the planet Mercury. I'm trying not to do too much
You're
astrology
right.
talk. I don't
Yeah.
want to confuse people, but wherever the planet Mercury was the day you were born, he could have been in any one of those 12 astrological signs when we took that
Mm-hmm.
picture of like where the planets were. So for some people, where Mercury was the day they were born, their mind is always in overwhelm.
Wow.
They
Okay.
can't turn it off. So an example for that would be someone with anxiety, right? Or someone that can just never make a decision. They don't know why. They know what they want, but they just can't, And then there's other people like me where Mercury, I see patterns and templates in my head. I see something and boom, my brain puts it into a pattern. I can't help it. But in relating back to the air element, what's important is that someone's chart, we might need to learn to either lift up the air element, like start giving you mantras and things to chant to activate your mind, or it could be for the opposite too. Some people, like I say, their mind is too much. They need to find something that turns the mind off so they can hear their intuitive guidance, because some people, it's too foggy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that. There's another reason why, and I don't want to explain it, but that's very, very common for a lot of people. So your air element is basically what we start with, and we talk about in the master class, is just get in the habit of going somewhere quiet, being out in nature if you can, and just start spending 20 minutes by yourself. Just try to don't look at your phone, just, and that's hard for a lot of people if they've never done it.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good practice to get in. I myself do that now. I never did it before, and that mindfulness just brings you back to grounding and, gives you a little bit more clearer picture of your life and what you need to do and where you need to go. But that's a really nice way to understand your work, that you virtually customize a toolbox for the person's astrology chart and how they can deal with that in that space. So that's really nice to understand that a little bit deeper. So thank you with that. So in your world, there's going to be some skeptical people, as we know. And so what would you say to those people who think astrology is woo-woo? And have you had a client transform from doubtful to absolute delight?
Oh, yes. Yes, to both questions. These are good questions. So, yeah, when people, I'm going to be honest here, because there's nothing for me to hide. Like, I'm the outcast in my family. So I don't want everybody here thinking that everybody around me is like, oh yeah, I'm into astrology. I have kids, I have family, siblings, relatives. They're like, what? You do what? Because in North America, this is not common. If you lived in other cultures, astrology, like, you're taught things from birth. So I find the woo-woo is because they don't even understand what it is. And that's not in a negative way. It's just that a lot of people think astrology is like, here in North America, it's like this little sentence you read in your astrology horoscope, the back of the newspaper, and so people think that's what you do. You write those messages, and it's like, no. So it's just to understand what astrology actually is, and to work with a certified astrologer, and not these little things you can get a reading for your life for $5 on the internet somewhere. So no, that's not correct. But I have had people that were very skeptical, but open-minded, and walked away, and I literally changed their life. They're like, how do you know that? And I go, I don't know that. I'm looking at the information, I'm interpreting it, and I'm giving you your message. Right? So
that's so delightful to hear that. You've got someone that's open-minded, and that's all about life, being open-minded and being open to new experiences, and then you can learn more about yourself. So that's just really refreshing to hear that you've actually been able to do that with some people in your work. So in regards to the stars and astrology, and we've talked about that's how we create, or you create, your personalized wellness plans. How might that look like in real life for a woman who's struggling with grief, menopause, or just burnt out?
Yeah, that's another great question, because we go through so many stages in our life. So again, regardless of what it is, so let's pull in grief, because there is just so much grief happening on the planet right now, like just with all the wild weather, all the things we're seeing happening globally, and what happened in the lockdown too. That's what I was saying to people. We're
Mm.
grieving because the life we knew is not what it's never going to come back, and so usually what's happening when people come to me is it's like the universe is lining up these people because there is something shifting in their life where they have to go from an old mindset or an old way of living or something. And the universe, the timing of their astrology and the planets are actually activating where they're ready for something more, where
Mm.
they're ready to rise, where they're ready to transform. But it doesn't feel like that in the beginning.
Mm.
So they're ready. And usually, when someone goes to see an astrologer, you're going to find answers for your life. Just taking that step and sticking your hand up, even if it is grief, and asking for help. It's going to align you into that healing that needs to happen. And
Mm.
then the outcome will come. Like, I don't know any other type of healer where they don't start to heal you and your emotions and your heart first. Like, you can't manifest, you can't do other things until the heart is ready,
Yeah.
right? So we have to work that. We always have to start there, right?
Yeah.
And then they start to blossom. It's like the heart opens and it just keeps opening and opening and blossoming. And it's like, and they're like, they look back and they go, well, my life has changed. I go, yes, you did it. It's just you had to go through that. And the last thing I want people doing, like I said, is or no, I didn't say earlier, but is to use things that take you out. Like when your life is challenged, I want to make sure you're getting up and you're trying to eat healthy and you're getting a little bit of exercise and you're not using addictive substances because we all go there. But
Mm.
you can sit and have a little bit of a pity party first. Like, yes, do that. But
Yeah.
then it's time to deal with it so that your
Mm.
life can blossom. It's
Yeah.
not that something bad's going to happen. Sometimes challenging things and negative things happen, but it doesn't need to just like take you out.
Yeah. Yeah. So just on that, so you also let women know that they don't need to know astrology to benefit. So just going deeper into your teachings, what happens in that 30-minute free session that you can provide for women to help them
Yes.
start healing and get some breakthroughs?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it is not a free astrology reading. I just want to make that
Oh,
clear.
okay, sorry.
It's a free astrological wellness breakthrough session.
Yes.
So I just want to make it clear. It's where you have private time with me for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually ask, what's going on in your life? Like, just give me the general picture because people come to me when they're in a challenge. So,
Yeah.
I'll ask you your birth chart information. You don't need to know the time. I don't need to know the exact time you were born, just the exact place and the date. And that's enough for me to start working with clients. But what I want to do is I want to find out what their lifestyle habits are now,
Mm-hmm.
because intuitively always know what we got to do.
Mm.
Do we exercise every day? Like I said, that's my weakness. I know it. My life gets busy or whatever. So what we're going to do in that 30 minutes is just do an overview of what's happening, see where you can start taking action. And usually I'm going to ask them, what's your intuition telling you to do right now anyways, based
Mm.
on those four basic elements. And then if they are willing to work with me and it is a win-win situation to work together,
Mm-hmm.
then uh once they become a client, then I start interpreting their astrological birth chart. They get templates that are written out, designed for them. And then in our coaching calls and our educational times throughout the month, it's about implementation. So it's always, what's your chart telling you to do, but also always pay attention to what's happening in the astrological sky.
Mm.
And I always make recommendations free on my social media every week, encouraging people to pay attention. This is how I think you're going to react or you're going to feel. And then I recommend some of those natural solutions to help keep you calm. And then I always give an action step, and
Mm.
it keeps people moving. And
Yeah.
he and the local TV station, a producer saw my video on YouTube from some other way, whatever, and called me up and said, more people need to understand this.
Mm.
And
Mm.
can you make it simple? So I've been doing that for years, 3 years now, maybe going on 4 years soon.
Mm.
And people are like, yeah, how do you know I'm feeling like that way this week? Because this is what's happening in the sky,
Mm. And
right?
what a beautiful gift you're giving to society and sharing that and doing that for so long. So yeah, beautiful act of kindness that you're doing for humanity there. So thank you for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Thank you. And I love it. And it's just education. It's because we're not taught
Yeah.
this in school. But I know as an astrologer, astrology is going to become very mainstream now
Mm-hmm.
that we're in the age of Aquarius and holistic health. So whoever is listening,
Mm.
step into understanding holistic health to support you. I'm not saying we don't need doctors. We certainly do. But,
Mm.
there are a lot of other options you can use if you're feeling down and out that aren't going to cause side effects, that aren't going to
Mm-hmm.
harm your body. And actually, these natural solutions, somehow in the long run, it's like an anti-aging serum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that's where the magic is.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on the age of Aquarius values, collaboration, compassion, and equality, they are really beautiful foundations. How do you live those out in your work and also in your life?
Oh, that's a great question. And, it's interesting at this stage of my life to really understand what it means and to realize that I see more of everything happening,
Mm.
because I kind of like, it's weird. It sounds weird, but I study life through what's regularly happening with the planet. So I
Mm.
understand it from a planetary point of view. And then I go, okay, this is what I think is going to happen globally. And then I see it happening. So the age of Aquarius, to me, my interpretation is this. I mean, we're in the beginning stages of it. So it's going to feel very rough and it's going to feel very chaotic
Mm-hmm.
because the old patriarchal systems have come down. And what I mean by that is things like the medical system, like the healthcare system, the education system, politicians, like these are all systems and things,
Mm.
major corporations, the corporate world, they're all systems. And the
Mm.
onset of the global lockdown was like, boom, there's
Yeah.
chaos. It's going to come down. But, and then we went a little bit forward, then went back again. But now what the age of Aquarius represents is that a lot of those old systems are just not in effect and they're not how we're going to move forward as a
Mm.
global society because of what's happened. We
Yeah.
have now shifted into this lifestyle where more people are willing to listen. That happened to you. Oh my
Mm.
goodness, because there's just so much happening. I have seen and experienced more people helping each other. Again, it's not about how much money, it's not about what you own, it's literally about people supporting people.
Yeah.
And that is just, another way where our heart opens more when we have compassion and we're willing to treat people as equals,
Mm.
because that's where the world is going to keep going.
Yeah.
But also, what I've noticed and what I've experienced is that you feel more love and value, and you
Mm.
feel like you matter as a spiritual being.
Yeah. That's so resonating to hear, because from my perspective and starting positive vibes, it's really to get that movement to say, hey, there's more kindness out there than the negativity that's coming through mainstream media or social media out there. And also, I can see in society today, we're questioning a lot more. So we're not just taking what's been for granted, we're questioning those old traditions. And as you said, what's happening out there in the astrological world, you can see that happening more and more. And people want to move more back to kindness, and seeing each other for who we are and respecting each other in that space. So that's really resonating to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is happening,
Yeah,
and say,
absolutely.
we have to pay more attention to the reality around us, especially in our communities
Mm-hmm.
and the people are, because what we're seeing necessarily on mainstream media, it
Right.
may not be the truth. That's the only way I can say it.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
truth is, what are you really experiencing out
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
And,
Within
how
and within your community. Yeah. And it's really, yeah, understanding that there's a balance in life and it's not all negative. There's positive out there, and that's where if we can share more kindness and positivity, we're going to feel it and live it a lot more than to turn on the TV and have this negativity thrown at us breakfast, lunch, dinner, yeah, before we go to bed. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. So, just
yeah.
on sharing, can you share a client story where someone came to see you and they felt stuck, absolutely in the woe of stuck, and then left with a new sense of clarity and spark?
Oh, yeah. Oh, pretty much everybody, but I love stories, and I only share the ones that people have given me permission as
Yeah.
testimonials. But I've got so many different ones, but one really good one, and I talk about this one in my masterclass too. Um, this woman, she was 55. Her name is Maggie. That's not her real name, but her name was Maggie, and she had a corporate executive position. She had been in the corporate world, her whole life. So
Mhm.
she was 55 years old and literally got thrown under the bus, backstabbed, filed a legal complaint, and lost her job.
Mhm.
55 years old. That's pretty scary stuff. And then literally it was the onset of COVID. And she knew me. So she reached out. And of course, I had to listen to what was happening to her because that was just a tough hand that was dealt to her.
Mm.
But immediately I asked her if she'd be open to, using some holistic solution so I could just get her to calm down so that all that anger and that aggression,
Mm.
because she couldn't sleep she felt stabbed in the back. So that's
Mm.
that's a lot of anger coming up and I can relate. So that's what we did. We put together a wellness kit and, I had to write out the template. This is how you use it, because there's a lot of people out there buying holistic solutions.
Yeah.
But the big problem, Nikki, is they don't even know how to use things properly. And
Mm.
then this doesn't work. Right. So that's why, there's always the contact with me. And with her, it was less than a week. She literally was like, wow, I feel like I have my power back. Like she felt like she
Mm.
just been like just wiped of everything. And I said to her, yeah, that's because, you're getting the exact remedies. And so what with the remedies I use, it literally will dissipate anything negative that you're feeling initially. And then as we keep working together over a couple of months and you're asking the questions, because I'm listening all the time. That's the thing as a PI, an astrologer and a healer. I'm
Mm.
listening for those keywords. And when I hear the
Yeah.
keywords, okay, this is the next remedy to give her. And so after a couple of months, she had used her remedy and she did have to get a new job, but she gave herself permission to just heal and do what she needed
Mhm.
to do. Get herself out walking every morning. She upped her walking and just allowed herself to cool down. And then she did get a different job, but her astrology chart taught me what would actually allow her to feel lit up and fulfilled.
Mm.
And I said to her, when you're looking for work, you may want to be looking for positions or things that are going to put you in this type of a position so that you feel valued.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times we take jobs for the money and then we're angry, you don't like you're being treated. But if
Mm.
you stay true to yourself and what your strengths and your weaknesses are, is that show up in your astrological birth chart. These are the secrets that can guide you on that path. So you might make a choice you've never made before, but you're so much happier.
Yeah.
So now she's grateful that that happened to her. She's doing a job that she still messaged me, I just love my job. And she does work with somebody else. But I said to her, when you're doing that job, how is you doing it? And she doesn't perform that job in a way that other people do who have the same position. She's using it for health, for herself, and
Mhm.
she feels better because of it.
Mm.
And so now, and I said to her, I said, I'm not a psychic or anything, but when you're aligned and you're spending time doing things that you love around the people you love to be around, that's how you magnetize and you meet people, right? Could meet somebody new and exciting, and that has that same alignment and some of those
Yeah.
same values. So I'm waiting for her to give me the message. This guy keeps saying, I think you're going to meet somebody.
Ah.
But you don't when you're that happy.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really nice, uplifting story to share with us all. So thank you with that. And again, when your light's shining, you're going to attract others that are shining as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear that story continue. So
Yeah.
just in regards to sharing, what's a sign or a synchronicity that you always trust?
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
me personally, it's a crow.
Ah.
Whenever I see a black crow, I know it's my dad because my dad passed over. And that was
Mm.
when I had my big spiritual awakening. And that was a timing in my chart. And there was a lot of other things happening in my life at that time too. And that's when my life fell apart.
Yeah.
And it was just, I always see crows. And when I see a crow, I use it as, what am I thinking right now? Pay
Mhm.
attention. Or do I keep repeating something? Write it down to
Mhm.
remember it later. Or sometimes I can feel the energy of my father around me. Just keep going, keep
Mm.
going. So for me, that's been an animal totem that I connect to. And so I say to people, if something keeps showing up, is your life a pattern? Or for some people, it's numbers,
Mm.
people see 111 or whatever. Um, I always encourage people just to Google it. I mean,
Yeah.
use Google to your advantage. And to Google it and ask the correct question. What is the spiritual meaning of,
Mm.
and whatever it is that you keep seeing or you keep hearing, and then see if that resonates with you.
Mm. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm sure our
Yeah.
listeners will be putting that back in their back pocket and using that as a tool for every day. And also, and it's being aware of what's around you. So it's actually being open to seeing what's around you, and it's just taking that step back and yeah, seeing the world as it is and how it presents to you. Because we often all get busy with blinkers on and don't see the signs. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. And also, what's one wellness ritual that helps you reset?
Do you mean generally or for me in I
Just
think generally,
yeah.
uh, yeah, I should trust my gut on that.
Mm.
Is, always light your fire.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I don't want to overwhelm people when I say you got to move your body. Like, I don't want people to think, oh, I got to go join that gym membership. I got to hit the gym. No, that's
No.
not what I mean by fire. What I mean is, move your body and do something in a way that literally lights you up, makes you laugh,
Mm.
makes you feel quirky, makes you feel different, makes you, just feel lighter. Like, fire is the first element of the astrological chart. It's Aries, it's fire.
Mm.
And we just have such sedentary lifestyles that we don't use our fire enough. So I always say, start with fire.
Mm.
Never
Easy
go
spot.
wrong with fire.
Easy to start with that. Just keep moving, do something that you enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in one sentence, what does positive vibes mean to you?
It reminds me of my kids saying, we're vibing, we're vibing. It's like the energy
Mm.
of the consciousness of the planet to me is rising and doing what you're doing, Nikki. Like, you are a part of that, and you're sharing the love and the kindness that really is happening on the planet. It
Mm.
is there, and it's going to keep getting stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. It will. The more we talk about it, the more we share, the more we can share those wonderful healers like yourself out there where people can get, access different modalities of healing. Yeah, it is really happening. So, just on that, Tammeron, where can our listeners go to connect with you and access your masterclasses or book a session with you?
Oh, great question. The best way right now is to just go to two places. My YouTube channel is called Inner Lights Academy TV.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I have my weekly videos out there. My podcasts get posted on there, my master classes, everything's on the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, if they want to be involved in my Facebook community, they're welcome to join me there. And again, it's my Facebook business page, and it's just Inner Lights Academy.
Okay.
So yeah, you can start there. We'll get you rocking and rolling, learning some basic stuff. We'll get you following the sky. That's how we start. I go, just pay attention every week
Mm.
and be like, how did she know?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some truth to this. What's happening above is happening below.
So, absolutely. I'm sure our listeners will be looking you up. And hasn't the sky this year been an absolute treat for us all with all the planets aligning? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a major shift. Many
Mm.
astrologers have been predicting a lot that was going to happen this year. It's no accident. Like
Mm.
people I follow, some people follow to the day. They're like it's based on specific planets. But I
Yeah.
will say this: that by the fall, all the chaos and everything that we are experiencing. Oh, for fall, am in Canada, so
Yeah.
by October, November this year in 2025, we're going to see why we needed to go through all of this chaos right now. It will
Mhm.
make sense, and things are definitely going to get better. But sometimes we need to see that ugly truth so we can start to begin to make the choices that we really want to make for the life that we genuinely want to live. And
Mm.
so it is ugly and chaotic out there, but at the same time, there's a lot of healing happening where people are literally just reaching out to support
Mm.
people. And that's where the positive vibes are happening. The light is always going to outweigh the dark.
Mm. Absolutely. And just on that, for a woman who is listening right now who feels emotionally drained or out of alignment, what would you whisper to her heart?
You're going to get through it. Just don't take yourself out. You have to reach out. Reach out for support, help, because it's there.
That's wonderful. Well, Tammeron, thank you for bringing your wisdom, your wonder, and your gentle, beautiful power into this space. You've reminded us that astrology isn't about predicting our future, it's about reconnecting with who we have always been. And that at any age, we can tune back into our intuition, our body, and our joy. So thank you, Tammeron. It's been an absolute joy to have you here today and for you to share your wisdom and work with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome. And to every woman listening, your spark is still there. It might just need a little softness, a little structure, or maybe a little stardust. This is positive vibes. Let's be, I love that. This is positive vibes. Let's keep building a world where alignment is healing, community is sacred, and your second act is your most radiant one. Sending you all love and positive vibes. Bye for now.